Good evening. I'm Kavita Krishnan and I'm a Politburo member of the CPI-ML Liberation, and I'll be speaking today first in Hindi and then in English about the spate of arrest, in fact a witch hunt of students, of activists in Delhi, which is ongoing still and is likely to continue right now during the COVID-19 pandemic. Against the witch hunt of activists, of students, of feminist activists that Delhi and India is witnessing right now. You probably know that since December of last year, December 2019, throughout January and February, when North India was at its coldest, when the cold winds were blowing all over North India, at that time a very remarkable movement was ongoing in India, and it started in Delhi. And that movement was a movement led by women. It was led by members of the minority community, especially women of the Muslim minority community. It was led by young students. It was joined by thousands of people all over the country. And their slogan was, Hindu, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, no matter what we are all soldiers of the Indian Constitution. All over the country they took up the book of the Constitution. They dusted it off, opened its pages and began to breathe life into the Constitution of India. They together read the preamble of the Constitution. We, the people of India, give to ourselves this Constitution. They read that all over the country. That movement and the people who led it is being criminalized today during the COVID-19 pandemic. In February, in the middle of February, when Donald Trump visited India, at that time, India's ruling party, the leaders of India's ruling party, gave speeches in Delhi instigating violence against the protesters and against the Muslim minority community. They had been giving such speeches throughout the Delhi elections, which had happened through the month of February and which they had lost. And as a result of those speeches, and what was their slogan? Their slogan was, shoot them all. And then there was a abusive epithet which I will not use here. I'll not translate here in Hindi. Goli maro salon ko. Shoot them all. So those who were openly calling for people to be shot, those people have not been touched. They have not been arrested. And that was not just empty talk. People heard them, they went out with guns and they tried to fire. They fired at students of Jamia Millia University. They fired at student protesters. They attacked people in the Jawaharlal Nehru University, armed with batons, armed with iron rods. They broke skulls. But they are not arrested. These people are not arrested. And who are the people who are arrested? It is a series of students, of activists, many of them from the Muslim community, Muslim minority community, and now feminist activists from the Pinjra Tod organization. And this list is likely to go on. They are saying that these students, these activists committed the crime of organizing peaceful protests to defend the Constitution. I just want to briefly remind you here what those protests were about. Those protests were pointing out that if the government is successful in pushing through the NPR, the NRC and the CAA, then the citizenship of any Indian citizen will need to be ratified with documents. If you don't have papers, if you don't have documents, you are no longer going to be considered a voter or a citizen. And the government will have unlimited power to choose the voters. Rather than the voters electing the government will select voters. And unsurprisingly, members of the minority community first, but also members of other marginalized communities, and as well as, of course, of course, poor people in India, and especially women, will be affected by this. This is what that movement had pointed out. And today it's true. You can see it happening. Because during the pandemic, those who are hungry are being denied rations because they do not have ration cards of the state in which they happen to be living and working. You don't have papers, you don't get food. That is today. Tomorrow it would have been you don't have papers, and they didn't want ration cards. They wanted papers that are far harder to get. You don't have papers that that prove that your ancestors were citizens of India, and out you go. You will lose you stand to lose your citizenship, you stand to lose your vote. And to regain it, if you're Muslim, you can't regain it. But if you're non-Muslim, to regain it, of course, it would be contingent on proving your loyalty to the government, your subservience and your enslavement to the government. This is what we can see. This is what happened. This was what the movement was about. Now, those who led that movement are under this terrible attack right now, are all being arrested right now. It is a virtual witch hunt of activists during a pandemic. Their lives are being endangered by being called to the special cell repeatedly, being interrogated in the special cell offices where a COVID-19 patient was identified. Their phones are being seized, and there is no evidence whatsoever of the participation of any of these people in any kind of violence or any kind of instigation of violence. But their very participation in organizing peaceful protests is being seen as proof of violence. In particular, I want to talk about the arrests of 2 young women yesterday from the Pinjra Tod organization, an organization about which made its name by basically fighting for the rights of women students all over India. It began in Delhi, and then it's a feminist movement that spread all over Indian campuses, and it said that it was raising its voice initially against the hostel rules for women's hostels, which would fix higher fees, which would basically fix all kinds of discriminatory and patriarchal rules and impose them on women students. The same rules were not applicable to men's hostels and male students. So this very remarkable feminist movement that took up the torch of fearless freedom that we saw lit so brightly in the 2012 anti-rape movement, they took up that torch and they spread it all over the country. It is the activists of this movement who have been arrested yesterday. 2 of them, Natasha Narwal and Devangana Kalita. Now, it's no surprise that this government sees feminists as being seditious, as being anti-national, because how dare you speak about breaking the locks of patriarchy. Pinjra Tod means break the cages, break open the cages. So breaking open the cages of patriarchy, to even talk about this, to talk about caste patriarchy, to talk about shaking those chains of patriarchy, shaking those walls off and those cages of patriarchy, that in itself for the RSS, for India's fascist organization, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, and its political wing, the Bharatiya Janata Party, that in itself is anti-national. Where does that come from? That comes from Golwalkar, one of the founders of the RSS. Please pick up his books and read him. They're all available online. Golwalkar said in his book Bunch of Thoughts that anybody who talks about women's equality is anti-national. Anyone who talks about reservation of jobs or educational seats for members of oppressed castes is anti-national. He also wrote that anyone who identifies as Sikh, not Hindu, is anti-national. Anyone who identifies as Jain, not Hindu, is anti-national, and so on. Anyone who identifies as Buddhist, not Hindu, is anti-national, and so on. And he also redefined what it meant to be Hindu, because in his book and in the RSS's book, to be Hindu, you have to hate Muslims, you have to hate Christians, you have to hate those and be violent towards those who speak about feminism or who speak about equality, who speak for the abolition of the caste system and so on, abrogation of the caste system and so on. And so it is no wonder that the RSS finds all these activists, all of us, to be anti-national. I want to tell those who head this government, especially the Home Ministry, under which the Delhi police directly falls. Remember, the Delhi police is not controlled by the Delhi government, but by India's government, by the Modi regime, by India's Home Minister, who is Modi's closest aide, Amit Shah, and he's also the president of the Bharatiya Janata Party, India's ruling party. I want to directly face them and tell them, look, why are you picking people off one by one? Why don't you just issue a call saying everybody who stood up for India's constitution, who read out the preamble publicly together with others, who stood on public streets reclaiming India's streets and reclaiming India's public spaces and reading out and breathing life, dusting off the constitution and reading life, breathing life into India's constitution, please stand up and be counted. And then when thousands of people stand up, arrest them all, arrest us all. That would make it faster. Let's make it easier for you. Because that is exactly what you are doing. You are not acting against people who were openly, you are not acting against people like Komal Sharma, who were caught wielding weapons and cracking people's skulls open in JNU. You did not invoke the draconian UAPA law against people who were found wielding guns. You did not even oppose the bail, let alone invoke UAPA, of the person who is accused of supplying guns, of supplying arms and ammunition to people who committed violence against the Muslim community in Northeast Delhi. You haven't arrested them. You haven't, and those whom you have arrested, you've not opposed their bail. You have not arrested those like Kapil Mishra and other leaders of the BJP who openly called for murderous violence against members of the minority community and against the pro-democracy movement in India. You haven't arrested any of them. You are only arresting those who are defending India's constitution. And that's why we want to tell you we aren't afraid of you. I want to appeal to everyone here who's hearing me. Please find out more about every single person, every single organization that is being targeted by this regime. Today it is Pinjra Tod. Yesterday it was the Shaheen Bagh protesters and the anti-CAA protests. If you don't yet know about these people, if you don't yet know about these movements, please find out more about them. Make sure each of the people who have arrested are people who must have given speeches in places, must have said things, must have written things. Let us amplify what they have said. Let us amplify the voice of Gulfisha. Let us amplify the voices of Natasha and Devangana. Let us amplify the voices of Safura Zargar and Miran Haider. Let us amplify the voices of Ishrat Jahan and Khalid Saifi. And let us amplify the voices of so many students whose phones are being seized and whom the Delhi police is threatening with arrest and trying to terrorize. Because what are they asking them in these interrogations? They are looking at these phones and saying, oh my God, these students were sitting and they were plotting. They were plotting what? They were holding meetings. How to defend India's constitution, how to build up a feminist movement, how to build up an anti-caste movement, how to build up Hindu-Muslim unity, how to work with Bhagat Singh's ideas or Ambedkar's ideas, with Savitri Bai's ideas and Fatima Sheikh's ideas. These were what these students were doing, and in the eyes of the Delhi police, this in itself is a crime. They have found not a shred of evidence of any kind of involvement in any act of violence. And yet they are treating the discovery that students hold meetings, that students belong to organizations like ISA or Pinjra Tod, that students are organizing with the Jamia Coordination Committee or with the Shaheen Bagh protests. They are treating these as evidences of crime. So let us all stand up to be counted, and let us make sure that those who are being arrested, their voices are not silenced, their voices are amplified. Let's make sure their voices are amplified. Let's make sure that their struggle goes on. We can no longer gather in large numbers on the streets because of COVID-19. That's true, because there is a very real danger of the spread of the pandemic. So we are being responsible about that. But you can't lock up, you can lock down the country, but you can't lock up our rights to voice our protests. You can't lock up our minds. You can't lock up our hearts. You can't lock up our determination to unite with the slogans that inspired the anti-CAA movement, which was a pro-democracy, pro-constitution movement. The Shaheen Baghs of the country were Shaheen Gardens, where basically gardens where the constitution was being sowed, where the constitution was being given new life, where democracy was being sown and harvested. And we are not going to let those gardens run dry. We are going to continue to nurture those remarkable gardens of democracy. We are going to ensure that you're jailing us, you're snatching our phones, you're threatening and terrorizing us is not going to have much effect. You've probably forgotten because you guys didn't go to jail during the freedom struggle. We all know that the RSS supported the British during the freedom struggle. But, those who went to jail during the freedom struggle, those who went to jail during the anti-emergency struggle, those who have gone to jail during so many people's movements in India, they are the ones who have made the spinal cord of India's democracy strong. And that's why going to jail doesn't scare us. Being arrested doesn't scare us. You don't scare us. Your power doesn't scare us. We shall continue to meet your eyes and demand accountability from you. Demand accountability not only to us as citizens, not only to the values of human rights, but to the values of India's constitution, to which at least formally, at least in name, you claim to be bound as well. And that's why we are not going to stop doing that. We stand with every person who was arrested. And quite frankly, as I said, we are giving you an open challenge. Please come. Please arrest everybody who was standing for the values that Natasha stood for, that Devangana stood for, that Safura stood for, that Ishrat stood for, that Gulfisha stood for. Those who were thinking that, oh, what were these students doing in places like, what were these feminist activists doing in places like Shaheen Bagh? Don't you know about the Pinjra Tod movement? A movement that stood for women's freedom and women's autonomy. How could activists of movement sit in their own campuses or sit in their own homes when women of Delhi were organizing these constitution gardens, these Shaheen gardens? How could they do that? Of course they had to go out there. Of course they had to offer their solidarity and support. Of course they had to get involved. They had every right to be there. And we welcome their being there. We admire their being there. And that's why we stand with them. We stand with everybody who was active in that movement. We are united, and we continue to be united in this endeavor. I'll end what I'm saying now, but certainly you'll keep hearing from us. I'm sure the Delhi police continues to have plans of arresting more and more people, but as I said, that doesn't faze us, that doesn't bother us. But I will request any of you who's hearing this to please try and amplify voices. Please try and tune down the TV that is telling you otherwise, that is trying to malign these voices of democracy and India's feminist and anti-caste movements and movements for communal harmony, movements for democracy, movements for the constitution. Please try and find out on your own about what these activists stood for, what did they speak, and why we should all listen to them, because it is important for the health of our country's democracy that we listen right now before it is too late. Thank you very much.